Joining us now in the studio, a journalist who conducted one of the most recent interviews with Qaddafi. Michael Elliot is deputy managing editor of Time magazine and spoke with the Libyan leader in September of 2009 when he was here in New York to speak at the UN. You actually sat down with him for about an hour.
Yep.
They allowed 5 minutes of that to be filmed. And when we look at that video, which I think we have to show folks at home, it really kind of plays into the idea that we seem to have in this country of him almost as some sort of a caricature. He just seems like such an odd figure.
He was very odd. I mean, it was one of the most extraordinary interviews I've ever done. But I got the sense in the hour that we were with him that he could flip from someone who was very, very focused on what message he wanted to give us on the one hand, and on the other hand, this strange sort of unworldly figure. He was in UN for the UN General Assembly. He spoke for nearly 2 hours, and it was as if he was almost semi-detached from what was really going on. Because he could flip from one thing to the other. It was an extraordinary.
Did he seem then to be sort of semi-detached from reality and even the ways of the rest of the world?
At times, but at other times, absolutely focused on, for example, the fact that he didn't think that Libya had really got enough from the West, and in particular from the US, for giving up its nuclear program 4 or 5 years ago.
What about the people surrounding him? Because clearly he must, to stay in power this long,
sure,
he has people around him who are obviously saying yes, in lockstep, at least to a point. Did the people who were with him that day seem fearful at all?
I wouldn't say they felt fearful. They were certainly, what's the word I'm looking for, over-respectful. I mean, there was a certain distance from him. There was a certain, brother leader is coming feeling. It felt to me, I don't want to trivialize this, but it felt, a little bit like the Hans Christian Andersen story, the emperor with no clothes.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone kind of sort of very, very, very careful in his presence.
When you see what's happening now, and you reflect on the time you spent with this man, do you think there's a chance that he will step down willingly?
No, I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, I think what we've seen in the last 24 hours is that, unlike in Tunisia and Egypt, the regime in Libya is determined, if it possibly can, to hold on to power. In Tunisia and Egypt, they did not, the rulers in power did not unleash the armed forces with this brutal repression that, by all accounts, in terms of what we've been hearing from Tripoli and Mark's report just now, is what we've seen in Libya. So I think it is clear that the Gaddafi and those around Gaddafi are trying very, very hard to maintain power. I think it's also clear, however, in the last 24 hours, that they do not have the total support of the power structure in Libya in the way in which we thought perhaps a week ago they might have done.
Michael Elliot, great to have your insight this morning. Thanks for coming in.